Hello, this is Matt Mackowiak, and today I'm going to be discussing similarities and differences between General Motors Company and Alibaba Group, a traditional and a modern company. To begin, just a little background on GM. They're an auto manufacturer. They were founded in 1908 by William C. Durant, headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, and the four main divisions of GM North America are Buick, Cadillac, Chevrolet, and GM. Alibaba Group, and in contrast, is primarily an e-commerce company, founded in 1999, so relatively new, and based in Hangzhou, China. Their three main websites are Taobao, Tmall, and Alibaba.com. They're responsible for $296 billion in transactions in 2014, which, to put into perspective, is more than eBay and Amazon combined. That said, we can get into some of the value disciplines of each of these companies. GM has three main values. You can see that they're customer relationship and excellence. They put customers at the center of everything they do. All of their success depends on their relationships, and they like to act with integrity. They're driven by ingenuity and innovation, which leads to their excellence. Alibaba Group has more basic values. There are six as opposed to just three, but a few of the ones that I highlighted there for the sake of our comparison. Both companies put the customer first, so that is a big similarity between the two. But Alibaba Group's values seem to poise the company to be more of an innovator from the start, just basically highlighting the change is the only constant, and today's best performance is tomorrow's baseline values definitely show that, and so their values seem to be more forward-leaning than GM. Some primary customer segments of both companies. GM basically breaks their customer segments down by income. The middle class buyers, they're going to favor Chevrolet or GMC models. The wealthier affluent ones, they're going to favor Cadillacs. There's also two segments that the luxury of fuel efficiency conscious ones favor Buick, and the last one, newer one, environmentally conscious consumers, which will favor the newer electric models that GM has been investing in. Whereas Alibaba Group, there are really only two large segments. It's the buyers and the sellers. And without the buyers and the sellers, the business would not exist. Each of those can be broken down in turn to business, business to consumer, or consumer to consumer in each of those. That leads us to the relationship building strategies that each company uses. For GM, going back to their customer values, this is definitely customer aligned and customer centric. They compete with brands like USAA, Starbucks, and Amazon because those brands care more about customer satisfaction than other vehicle manufacturers. They've become well known for customer satisfaction. They focus on the onboarding stage of a sale, and after they have those new customers, returning customers have the option of My GM Rewards, which are points for qualifying purchases for whether it be oil changes or things like that. Relationship building strategies and loyalty for Alibaba Group, slightly different. They expand their new market by offering free services or software. As an example of that is Alisoft, which is a subsidiary that gives away free copies of Shopkeeper TM software with a new subscription. Alibaba Group also runs very large PR campaigns to increase the awareness of the company, and after they have their new customers, they offer the 88 VIP program for frequent loyal customers. That's based on their the score of how often they transact business on Alibaba's websites. Some marketing with artificial intelligence for each company. GM has started to embrace this more in recent years. They use it for dealership performance, so they gather geographic data to help dealerships better understand customers in a certain area. That leads to personalized marketing, where they are able to use big data to create customer profiles and identify customer preferences. And lastly, they use it for telematics, which is the OnStar service that is incorporated into their vehicles, and they run ads through their dashboard screens. Alibaba Group, definitely more advanced with this, using AI, machine learning, reinforcement learning, all different methods that are more and more accurate with the more big data that they use. They actually anticipate customer preferences and needs a lot like Amazon and Facebook do. So they're able to understand what their customer need their customers need just based on big data. One large digital transformation event for GM obviously was the 2008 recession and government bailout that it went through. After that, the company reinvented itself to produce computers on wheels. Start with the computer and make that a central part of the vehicle, and then work around that. They entered the car insurance market, hence OnStar, and have been developing driverless technology for the last few years. In contrast, Alibaba Group does not have too many big digital transformation events, being so young, but one big one was the Aspara conference of 2020, where they unveiled a new set of AI solutions that will revolutionize the sporting events industry. One of their softwares is the event simulation service, and that will allow organizers to plan indoor events virtually. It'll also help broadcasters to simulate or test camera angles before installing any actual cameras at sites. That leads us to both companies' digital maturity. Now, GM is not as developed as Alibaba Group as far as technology. Their organizational culture, though, as we mentioned, is trending toward autonomous vehicles. It's very tech-focused and it's very customer-focused now after 2008. The company's not yet fully digitally mature, but the culture is definitely conducive to it, and within a few years it will definitely get better and more digitally mature as time goes on. Alibaba Group, on the other hand, has been a tech company from the beginning. There's no real threat of competition, yet they are still innovating through the Aspara conference and ESS and many other softwares. They're already digitally mature, I would say, as it's part of their culture and it's their key focus. It's involved in 2 or 3 of their company values. Lastly, we can talk about some decision-making analytics and how these companies use big data or AI to influence the decisions of day-to-day work in the companies. GM, to start, they develop predictive analytics platforms that can anticipate demand for autonomous vehicles, so they're kind of keeping up in that space. They also have invested in Maxis, which is a top IT data crunching technology. It's part of their IT strategy overhaul, and a lot of the business executives can use it to calculate KPIs, make decisions based on their ability to achieve company goals through the use of an algorithm, and big data is a part of that. Alibaba Group, on the other hand, has invested in 7 labs that will research only AI. And their Tmall smart selection software is an example of one decision-making capability that they have that analyzes consumer preferences and then based on that communicates inventory suggestions to retailers to keep up with demand. Another really interesting development that they have is a bot that can actually pick up on human emotions and alert human customer service agents at Alibaba Group in case they want to step in and intervene in customer interactions with bots, which I think is pretty interesting. So they already have 2 definitive objects. They have a software and a bot that can help make business decisions for the customer service agents and also for inventory planners or in operations or supply chain analysts in that space. And so Alibaba Group is definitely more ahead than GM in this space and uses big data and AI to make a lot more of its decisions. That said, we can see there's obviously a more digitally mature company out of the 2 of these. GM is catching up, but Alibaba Group is just so far ahead and just so modern that they're really not on the same level. But GM, as mentioned, is showing progress. And thank you for listening to my presentation.